Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it happens to be where you are when you watch this. My name is Joseph Morrison, and I am the founder and CEO of Razor Sharp Consulting and also the founder of the Nonprofit Connections community. Our purpose in this segment today is to highlight nonprofits that are doing good and to provide exposure to their awesome work. Today, we have with us Griff Masters, Director of Triceratops Technology Resources, and Azure Sensabaugh, who is a coordinator with the organization. Triceratops is a nonprofit organization with a mission to provide support for socially valuable organizations that are held back by technology. They build, fix, and educate to enhance their ability to make an impact. Welcome to the program. It's good to have you both here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Well, why don't we begin by having one or both of you tell us a little bit about your organization, your mission, and what inspired its founding.
Sure. Yeah, I can talk a little bit about the founding. I worked in the software industry for a few years, and I had some connections to the nonprofit sector before that, just kind of socially. And as I actually had a really good friend of mine worked for Google at the time, and they, were so like famously supportive in that era of charity work, their employees. And he was telling me about he was working on a team, and they had a day where the team went out and picked up trash in Marymore Park in Seattle. And that story just really struck me that like that's a really good thing, and I'm glad that that happened. But also, these are some of the best software developers in the world. I feel like we can make more use of a day of charity work for them than picking up trash in Marymore Park. Um, and so that kind of planted the seed. Like we worked together a little bit and came up with the idea of um, facilitating some more like connecting technical professionals to um, some nonprofit work because on the other side of that, the nonprofit uh, people that I knew were just constantly wrestling with really pretty not the kind of technical problems that the right person in there could knock out for them in just a couple minutes, and they'd be hamstrung for weeks and weeks trying to deal with it. Instead of doing the thing that they are there to do, that they're passionate about, and that does good. So that was the hole that we saw.
Wonderful. Well, tell us a little bit about what sets your organization apart. What makes you different from other nonprofits in your sector?
Um, sure. There are a few more now. When we first formed in 2018, I found I looked around a little bit, and that was one of the reasons that we did found Triceratops. Was that there weren't really as many then. And still now, I think that one of the differences that I see come up a lot is that other organizations that do the kind of technology support work that we do tend to do a little bigger programs, work with bigger nonprofits, and they're sought out for contracting work. We have a lot of local connections where we do some work with bigger organizations, but the work that I'm most excited about and proud of is that we're in the Rolodex of a lot of the local nonprofit community, and they'll call us for small problems, and those are my favorite things, the stuff that we can like fix in like 5 minutes that really makes a big difference for them. And so we're trying to like really seek out work to do with groups that don't even know exactly what their problem is, and so they would never be able to find the right person to fix it.
Right. Yeah, I deal in my business with small and startup nonprofits, and you're absolutely right. A lot of the issues that they're having, they're not even sure what is behind it all, right? They're not even
Mhm.
sure how to identify what the problem is, let alone fix it. And so what you're offering sounds like a really important component to helping organizations move forward. Can you tell me a little bit about maybe a particular project or an impact you've had recently that maybe you've undertaken and whatever challenges, successes you might have had with that project?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been taking a lot. Azure, do you want to answer this one?
Sure. We One project that I got to work on recently that was really exciting was rebuilding a website for an organization that's doing amazing work in Olympia, where we're from, and has been wanting a new website for years, but just they're so busy and they have so many things going on, and they never had time um, to just get back to that, basically. So it was so exciting when we finally got to show them their new website. And like when we launched it and we got to see the reactions and how excited they were, that was a really cool project. I know you worked on Built for Zero data, if you want to talk about that too, Griff.
Um, yeah, yeah, I love data projects are what I'm most excited about, the kind of like invisible back end stuff, just making things work more smoothly. And there's a regional program built for Zero that's engaging with housing issues, and a lot of the data around that's very, very hard to collect. And so we did some work with the group that's sort of in charge of managing all the data that's coming in from different sources, and um, they had a system for holding on to all of it and organizing it. That's kind of a legacy system that was just handed down to them from someone else, and you can look through and see the strata of different ideas about how to organize data built into it. And so we did a lot of work with them, weekly meetings for months and months to just go through some of the old data and find irregularities, change the way that some of the data piping, how it flows through their system, and make everything run smoothly. And they actually just got a big certification. They have a lot of new projects spinning off from that to set to really, really make a difference regionally in some housing issues, because they were able to get that really polished.
My son runs an IT company, and he's like you in a lot of ways, and that he is all about the data, right? He's all about the information, and he's very, very detail oriented. And it takes that kind of person to, to be involved in an organization that is involved in technology, right? Because that's what it's all about, is that data. So I always call him a nerd. I'm not going to call you a nerd, but
I don't know.
he doesn't mind either. He likes that term, actually. It describes him well, but it takes a special kind of person to want to do what you're doing. And so I'm glad you're involved in something that you do well. There are so many people that get involved in things that maybe they're not a right fit for, but it sounds like you're a perfect fit for what it is you're offering. So congratulations and kudos to you for launching this thing and doing well with it. Tell me a little bit about other organizations you might collaborate with, whether they be government agencies or other nonprofits, or even the community at large, as a way of sort of trying to, maximizing your impact and reach.
Um, yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Azure, were you going to say something?
I was about to talk about the sidewalk project,
Oh,
but
that's a great idea.
yeah, so a huge project that's very collaborative that we're working on right now involves a resource committee that is a, a lot of local service providers in the housing sector, and also some government agencies. So our county's homeless prevention office and the city of Olympia homeless response team. And basically they've all come together in this committee to try and create a big centralized database of all the resources in our area. And it's a really difficult task, because there's so much information and so much constant updating that goes into creating a guide like that. But we're really excited about it. We recently received a small grant to like really dedicate some time to like updating the technology, making repairs, trying to make it as easy as possible for the providers to like put their information in it and for people to access this information. So that's a really collaborative project we're working on now, that we hope will have a huge impact on not only the service providers here, but also community members who need this information.
Yeah. Now, are there other organizations that you want to work with, maybe that you aren't currently? Maybe some people from the nonprofit connections community or other places? And if so, what types of organizations would you like to work with?
I think we we are inspired by so many people's mission. uh we would just say, like, reach out, feel free to like schedule a consultation and tell us about what issues you're having, or send us an email and tell us about what you're doing and what's holding you back from it. We love getting to like help people execute their mission. So yeah, yeah, we love any like really cool socially impactful project.
Right.
Yeah, and I
Well,
would add to that too that you know, we've been going through a period of expansion lately, and like I said, when we first started, there were it's felt like a lot fewer organizations doing the kind of thing that we do, and now we're you know, we've been looking at some of the other groups that have grown up in that time and just exploded onto the scene, and you know, we'd love to you know, partner with other groups doing that. I mean, that wasn't really an option when we started,
right.
but now there's a lot of other opportunities to network, and you know, there's nothing stopping us from working outside of the region that we're in. That's just kind of where we've always been. So we'd love to, you know, reach out and get to know other groups doing the same thing in other places.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I always love to hear that organizations want to collaborate with others, because that's really what I'm trying to do, not only through the community, but in my business as well. I'm always trying to network and connect nonprofits together. So
Mhm.
I'm thrilled when there's a willingness to do that. Um, and on that note, maybe you could tell us a little story or testimonial that sort of illustrates the impact your organization's having.
The impact, there's actually a story that's been on my mind a little bit lately because we've been going back over some past projects, and this was the first project that Triceratops ever did, and it was um, it was a satellite branch of the Thurston County Food Bank that operated out of a church nearby, and um, this lady had a collection of Excel spreadsheets that she tracked all this data in, and she was putting the information in three different places and then running a bunch of calculations by hand because they had supplemental food donations coming into their satellite branch. They were really proud of that. It's still going today. It's very cool operation. They're taking the food bank service and adding their own uh, supplemental donations to it. Um, and the tracking for it, they had to report back to the Thurston County Food Bank, but they had to keep the records separate from their own stuff because they were trying to track that too. And it was just every day that they were in operation, there was another day of this poor lady putting in data and running calculations by hand and doing all this stuff. And I was just starting out doing this, and I ended up building for them. You know, there's no technical ability at all for them. I don't think she would disagree with me saying that at all, or be insulted by that. And so I had to make sure that everything worked exactly the same way in place for her, but ran all the calculations automatically and just pulled the data from one place. And so I had to learn Visual Basic for it because that's the scripting language that's built into Excel, and
Right.
build a bunch of tooling in place where she had it. And it was a really interesting project. You know, that's exactly the kind of thing that like she would never have gotten a solution to that on
Right.
her own. Like she didn't know what thing to start Googling even to fix it, or even that she really had a problem. You know, a lot of people, they just think, well, this is just the way that technology is. It's just hard and
Yeah.
time consuming like this. And so that was a really meaningful project to me to run, even though it was maybe like the smallest project we've ever done.
Well, this next question is a question that I love to ask because, um, really it ties in sort of your current plans with sort of your future opportunities. And the question is this: what do you guys, both of you, see as the biggest challenges and as well as the opportunities that are facing the nonprofit sector today? It's something that I struggle with all the time. I'm always trying to get feedback from nonprofit organizations like yours as to, what obstacles stand in your way, right? And how do you overcome those obstacles and adapt to those changes? Is that something you feel you could answer?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the biggest challenge I feel like I see is really the administrative overhead of running an organization and getting funding. We've been, like I said, we've been expanding lately. And as you mentioned, we have gotten some grant funding to support some of our work. But the amount of work that it takes to keep that running, it really detracts from the work that we want to be doing. It's another version of the same problem that we're trying to solve ourselves, that we see technology holding back other organizations, but that uh, that operational funding piece is really what we are soaking up the most of our time, I feel like. Or what do you think, Azure?
I think I would agree. Yeah, I was also just going to say, I mean, most of the problems that nonprofits are struggling with that we're exposed to are, I would say, data related. So that is a huge need for a lot of nonprofits, is just an easier way to enter data, especially in the social services. I think we've found there's often like multiple competing requirements to track their data. And it takes up an enormous amount of their time to try and follow all those requirements and enter them in all three separate places in slightly different ways. And so, yeah, I would say, yeah, in my experience with other nonprofits and working here, we've seen a lot of that would be a huge struggle facing the nonprofit sector, I would say.
Yeah. Well, looking at your own organization now, what would you say are your goals and maybe your future aspirations? And what kinds of plans do you have in place to make sure that you reach your goals in the future?
I think um, I think that really a version of stability is a big goal of ours. Again, our favorite projects to take on are the smallest and the ones that we have to go out and really proactively find. And so we've been building up some tools to kind of have a stable platform to launch from, to go out and find those, doing some private contracting work and other paid work to sort of subsidize the projects that we're really passionate about.
Okay. Well, on that note, is there anything maybe special that you want to tell others about your organization that maybe we haven't covered?
I think that, broadly, if there's one thing that I could say to other nonprofits, it's just really that you don't have to put up with the problems that you're having. We so often see people just kind of accept that, like, oh, either, this is just the way that this software is. It's hard to use, or, oh, my boss bought a thing and now that's an extra tool that some sales team said is going to fix everything, but actually I know it's just going to make more work for me, that kind of stuff. There's a lot that you can do with some surprisingly little sometimes configuration to make it actually work for you. Like if the technology is not making your job easier, then something's wrong, and you shouldn't accept it.
Makes sense to me. Well, let me say thank you both for spending time with me today and highlighting your important work. How should people contact you if they want more information?
Yeah, they can visit our website, which is triceratops-tech.com. And that has it has our phone number and our email and a way to schedule a free consultation. And that's the best way to find how to contact us.
Wonderful. Well, again, thank you all who are watching for honoring us today with your viewership. Until next time, stay blessed.